Well, good morning. It's Monday, December 8th, 2025, in the year of our Lord, and it's about 6:45 in the morning. At 9, a friend of mine's coming by to pick me up, and then I'm going to have cataract surgery on my right eye. So I thought, well, maybe I can just distract myself and do some book organizing. So come along with me, ladies and gentlemen. I actually have 11% female viewers, so I guess I can say, ladies and gentlemen. It used to be about 4 to 7%. It's gone up some. And for a while it was 0% because there's about nothing more unattractive, I was hearing, than to women than guys that that collect comic books. So I don't know. Some women like comic books, but it's kind of like the Three Stooges. You find a girl that likes the Three Stooges, and you're a lucky guy, right? Well, anyway, I don't know why anyone likes this channel. I was yeah. Let me adjust this a little bit. Yes, indeed. Okay. Okay. About as straight as it's going to be, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I'm moving books around. Is what I'm doing. So let's do that. Some of these books can be upstairs. Yeah. What is this book? Oh, it's a Mother Goose book. Okay. This was a book of my father's that I always remember having in the house. Great athletes of the 20th century. As I recall, it's got Johnny Weissmuller and Buster Crabbe in it. So I guess it is sort of related to stuff that we're into. Okay, hold on a second. Wearing these glasses that do absolutely nothing for me. Nothing, I tell you. Drew, what are you doing there? Okay. Hold on. This book is interesting. It's called TV Sets by Mark Bennett, and this book's done by an architect that was completely addicted to TV growing up, and decided he would design, kind of as an art project, working blueprints so you could build the houses that you saw in television shows growing up. So by watching and studying shows like the Munsters and the Addams Family and the Brady Bunch, he figured out the layout of the house. But he had to make it there's certain parts of the house that you never see. You never see where the bathrooms are in the Munsters or the things. So he had to add that stuff in so you could have a working. And in fact, there's a couple that built the Munsters house in Waxahachie, Texas. Sometimes they'll let the public come in and tour it. But let's see. Let me show you. All right, well, here's the blueprint if you happen to want to build the Flintstones house. Shows if you ever wanted to see where Fred Flintstone's bathroom was located and where his shower and bathtub and all that. Here's the Jetson, the blueprint for the Jetsons home. It's the Dick Van Dyke Show. Here's the Munsters house. All the different levels, including the dungeon, which that couple that built that house in Texas didn't have a dungeon. They've got the trap door in the living room that opens up, and there's lights there, and there's some stairs going down, but they don't have the basement because in Texas they don't really have basements in houses. The just the way the soil is, they just can't do it. But they have an area in the upstairs that represents Grandpa's dungeon with the test tubes and everything. But anyway, here's the Clampett's mansion in Beverly Hills. You just every show you can think of. Whole town of Mayberry is in here. Let's see. There's the Beaver Cleaver house. Let's see. You've got Dick Van Dyke, Bewitched, the Brady Bunch, Happy Days, the Jetsons, the Honeymooners, Flintstones, All in the Family, My Three Sons, Gidget, Flipper, Partridge Family, Mary Tyler Moore Show, Laverne and Shirley, Lost in Space. So they have the actual Jupiter 2 layout. Gilligan's Island, MASH, the MASH compound, Perry Mason, his office, Beverly Hillbillies, Munsters, Addams Family, I Love Lucy, Family Affair, The Odd Couple, Leave It to Beaver, Father Knows Best, Donna Reed Show, Patty Duke Show, Hazel. Oh, I always hated Hazel. I couldn't take Hazel. Mr. Ed, Green Acres, The Andy Griffith Show, Big Valley, Wild Wild West. It's the train coach. That's really cool. You know something? An independent station back in the 70s that would show you Hazel when they could have been showing you the Addams Family or the Munsters. Something un-American about that. I know it's based on a comic strip. It's just I don't. Who likes Hazel? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just something wrong with me. Yeah. I was watching Night Tiger's show yesterday, and he was showing a book he had. And he says, I got this from this friend of mine, but he's not my friend anymore. About a few years ago, he stopped talking to me and refused to associate with me because I like Donald Trump. And he said, that's really sad. I know of this person that he was talking about. I've been on live streams with a bunch of people, and he was one of the people. And I remember he collected Westerns and things like that. But I never really, even though I was on the same show with him, I don't think I ever interacted with him or talked to him. I've never mentioned his name in my life. He seemed like a nice guy. But someone in the comments on Night Tiger's show said, yeah, he blocked Grottu also, and because he talks about Donald Trump every single day. This person was saying, I don't know that I do that. Maybe I do. And anyway, so I blocked me. I said, can you block people on YouTube? Maybe he unfollowed me. I don't know. But how do people know who's unfollowing who? Because I never knew that. If he followed me, I never knew he did. And said people unfollow me all the time. It's like every few days there's someone that disappears, and maybe a few people that appear. But yeah, I'm aware that there are people that do not like freedom of speech. They like to get rid of anyone that does not think the way they do. But it's like the guy must have talked about on his channel, I blocked or I defriended or I unfollowed that horrible Grottu. How else are people knowing about it? I mean, do you go through everybody's friends list or whatever, followers, and see who's following who? I don't know. That's weird that I was brought up in someone else's show and over someone that I don't know. I'm sorry I offend you because I like Donald Trump, but I always hated Donald Trump as a kid growing up. the Donald Trump that was on the cover of People and National Enquirer and everything, all through the 70s, 80s, he just seemed like an idiot. But as soon as he ran for president, that's what I realized, no, this guy's a genius. This guy's really funny. This guy, so maybe I'm the opposite of all those people that loved him. Oh, he was in Home Alone too. Oh, he was on The Apprentice. What a wonderful show. But now I hate him because he's. So anyway, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I encourage you to unfollow this show if you find me offensive for having a particular political opinion. But anyway, enough of that, because we never talk about politics on this show. Not never. Okay. The cats are fighting, man. That's not cool. Can't we all just get along? Let me move some other stuff around here. Oh, here's an interesting book, ladies and gentlemen. We were talking about PS art books. That's what I'm doing right now, is I'm moving a lot of PS art books around. By the way, I'm wearing this. I kind of forgot about all my Hawaiian shirts and my 50s shirts, because I outgrew a lot of them, but I'm going to try to lose weight here. So I got to do that. Anyway, they said today to wear like a button shirt, not a shirt that you pull over your head, because I don't know. I guess they don't want anything messed up. So I found this shirt. I was wearing it in the show the other day. This is a collection of Ghost comics. And it says, "Don't miss out, limited edition, order today." I wonder what the press run is. I wish they would put the press run in the indicia of these type books. I'm just curious. But this, of course, reprints these comics that no mortal human can afford. There are people that I was watched this show last night, because there aren't many new comic shows. Jambo puts out some shows occasionally, and I think Captain Strangelife's down to about once a month. I wish he'd put out more, but Night Tiger does shows on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday mornings. He's getting into doing AI music. He says he's going to have a separate channel for it. I'm just doing it on my same channel. But he's doing more heavy metal, glam metal, Van Halen kind of stuff. And he's kind of trying to do, I think, songs like that might really sound like they really existed or really were done by Van Halen. I think I'm doing songs that never would have ever existed. I'm in a Tom and Jerry, Herman and Catnip cartoon, man, every day. Except it's two kittens fighting. But then sometimes they just sleep and cuddle with each other, but otherwise it's constant combat. I guess it's like human children are kind of that way, right? This Charles Atlas never aged, and he still looks like that today. He's 200 years old. Because that Charles Atlas ad where the guy is getting sand kicked in his face by the bully, and his girlfriend says, "Oh, don't let it bother you, Jello arms or little man." And then he goes and does Charles Atlas's muscle training regimen, and comes back and punches that bully in the face on the beach, and everyone's saying, "What a hero! He's the hero of the beach. He's already famous for it." There was a parody of that ad in Crazy, the Marvel Crazy. Crazy was good for about 10, maybe a dozen issues. It then just became like somewhere between cracked and sick. But it was good for a while. And Marie Severin did a parody of that Charles Atlas ad. You wouldn't even notice it. You'd flip by and you think it was the Charles Atlas ad. But if you look at it, the the bully of the beach isn't kicking sand in his face. He's got a bazooka and he's blowing the guy's head off. And then he's just as a stump with blood squirting out of it. And his girlfriend saying, oh, you're such a wimp, or whatever. And so the next panel is like in a Daffy Duck cartoon where he gets shot in the face with a shotgun, and uh, the next scene he's okay again. Or Elmer Fudd gets shot in the face, and his face is all covered with smoke, and the next scene I'm okay again. Well, anyway, the next scene his face is just bandaged. Somehow his head grew back, and I'm gonna get this Charles Atlas. I need to show you this ad. Somewhere I copied it and framed it. I don't know where that is. Somewhere in here, but anyway, he comes back and hits the bully, and the guy's head just turns to dust. In the last scene, he's in handcuffs, and the police are taking him off the beach. And instead of saying "what a hero," they're saying "what a killer." He's already famous for it. And it's like the ad that made Mac a killer. It was really funny. How to lose ugly fat. No diet, no exercise, no methods, no plans, no drugs. That's what I'm worried about. What if I cough while they're doing laser on my eyes? That's what I worry about this stuff. Everyone's telling me, people in the comments, and Dr. Silverade says it's the best thing I've ever done. Don't worry, it's going to go fine. Everyone's telling me that, including the guy that's driving me there today who had the surgery about 6 months ago. And he took a lady from his church to this same clinic. It's like an hour's drive, a few weeks ago, and said she had a good time. She was the most fun in her life. So anyway, he called me Saturday and said, my car is on the blink, so we'll have to take your car. And I said, okay. Because it's super cold here. It's like 14 right now, and he can't accelerate past over like 45. So I said, well, I was just thinking this morning, well, I guess I can drive there, but he'll have to drive my car back. And then I remembered, wait a second, I can't see worth the crap. He's had his vision's fine. I can't see the signs. It's like, man, I can't even. Just the titles on these books right here are blurry to me. Look at this. You see that? That's blurry to me. It says "Out of This World" there, or that says "Black Cat Mystery," but it's completely blurred to me. But I can read it, sort of. So, and these glasses, I don't think you can tell. Let's see, can you tell? Do you see those scratches there? Look at where Santa Claus is. Do you see those scratches? That was done by the kitten, this gray, crazy kitten. The other night, got a hold of my glasses while I was sleeping and completely scratched them up. So they're really not functional anymore, because I can see that. It's right in my vision. Vocal point, whatever. Focal. Vocal is talking. Focal. So, but anyway, supposedly I'll be able to see okay, and then I'll need maybe glasses for close up, so which they could use these same frames, but these glasses are not going to be functional after a few hours from now. So I even know why I'm wearing them now. Well, it does make the words are clearer here. They do clear that up. These glasses do very little though for distance anymore. Anyway, how about that? Oh man. See, the cat's going after the glasses again. I'm just trying to figure out how to do this. Let me move these Archie books. What is this book? I can't even read that. Oh, it's a Flaming Carrot compilation. I like this book. I don't ever hear anyone talking about the Flaming Carrot from Dark Horse. Do you guys remember the Flaming Carrot? There's a Peter Bagg book. The Bradleys were kind of the inspiration for The Simpsons, very much so. This was something good that came out of the 90s, or did this start in the late 80s? When was this? 80, 45, 86, 80, yeah, this was the 80s. Okay. Well, I was thinking something good came out of the 90s, but maybe not. Oh, the Peter Bagg, Hate, and then there was 8 Ball. There was some really good stuff coming out there for a while. Okay, a bunch of Archie books. I could probably move these. Archie, the best of the 60s. It's, I don't know how carefully they chose these necessarily, but here's Best of the 50s, book 2. So, we go back into the 50s, as you get into this right here is the time period that they were doing a parody, that Harvey Kurtzman and Will Elder were doing a parody of in the Mad comic book, EC comic book, that was where Archie was a juvenile delinquent and a thug. This is the 50s. This must be volume 1. So this is probably going to be more of that time period. Now the Comics Code was run by one of the main guys behind the Comics Code was named Goldwater, who was running Archie, and but there was a period in the early 50s where Betty and Veronica were drawn more like pinup girls, but I don't think they ever pushed the limits of things really far. This is the 40s here. Look at how Reggie's drawn back then. He looks like pure evil. He really looks like one of those guys like Peter Strzok that you can just see the demons in them. And this is the 40s volume 1, which of course takes you back to the beginnings of Archie. And then this is the Best of Betty and Veronica's Summer Fun. This, I remember getting this. This is from the 80s. Man, it was $20, 1995. This has more of a, this feels more like it's a homemade thing, like it's photocopies. Yeah, it's like old Xerox. It's like Xeroxes from the books. And then they've got some Dan DeCarlo new illustrations from 1991. So this must have come out in the early 90s. Let's see. 1991. I'm just trying to clear space on this shelf to put in, so all my PS art books will kind of be together. Someday They'll be together. Here's a Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Introduction by Ray Bradbury. That was a fun movie. I enjoyed that. That was Star Wars came out in the summer, and then that Christmas, Close Encounters was in theaters. Yes, indeed. Put Ghost in here. Dang, I can't see. I don't know what condition I'll be in after I get home. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know nothing. What's this book? Didn't we look at this the other day? I'm sure we did. The Mercenary. Do I have 2 copies of this? Yes. Yeah, this is the same one we looked at the other day. Yeah, man. Shit. I mean, shoot. Sorry about that. I know you're offended. Okay. What is this book? Oh, it's an anthology of Robert Crumb from Zap Comics. So it's a bunch of R. Crumb stuff. That's pretty great. Okay. This book is Action, Mystery, Thrills. This has fantastic, like that book I showed you the other day, this is nothing but covers, but reproduced in a much better way. In fact, you need to have 3 copies of this book. One to put on your shelf, and then one to break the spine and take out the pages. But since they're front and back, if you want to frame all of these, then you'd need to have two copies that you need to destroy, because I don't know. I haven't thought of this. I need to look online for another copy of this, because this could really make a comic room look great. You know, most of these people that are slab collectors, this is all they see ever. They buy these books and they're sealed in plastic. They always say, well, I can just read it online. But I don't think they ever do. They're just buying a cover. Ooh, I'm hungry, man. But I can't eat I just can't eat till later. No. I'm supposed to, after I eat, he says we're going to stop at a place called Pizza Ranch in this town where John Wayne was born. And I've never eaten at Pizza Ranch, but people say it's really good. So, but that's not going to be till about probably 2 o'clock this afternoon. So, anyway, this is a good book here, man. So, see what I can do about this. Ugh. I desperately need more bookshelves, is what I need. Oh, I have room over here. Outstanding. Okay. Oof. I think we already looked at these books. We looked at Atom Age Combat, and let's see, did we? Tomb of Terror? No, we didn't look at these books. I don't think so. Spook Suspense Mystery. Again with the limited edition. Oh shit, did I damage that? I can't see anything, damn it. Very, very good reproduction in these books. These are done by a British company that somehow is associated with Roy Thomas. I think Roy Thomas is like an advisor or part of it. But obviously, people that care about comics are behind. Oh boy, this. I got to put this giant Kirby book somewhere. This is the same book, I think, but a softcover version, so I have it twice. See this cat going crazy? All right, do more crazy stuff so they can see crazy. Yeah. She wants to attack the cable that I have this camera plugged, this phone, I should say, plugged in, and she wants to knock it over and knock me off the air. It wouldn't be the first time. I think just yesterday she knocked me off the air. Okay. Atom Age Combat. Various stories involving atomic war or wars of the future. Including the ads and everything. Total time machine trip back to the 50s. There's Startling Terror. Startling Terror Tales, I should say, Volume 1. I just realize I need more of these. So. Okay, that brings us to Tomb of Terror. Tomb of Terror, which, oh man, am I starving. See, Tomb of Terror was a Harvey title. See, doesn't this, oh man. This is the same company as I was telling you the other day that would later bring you Casper and Hot Stuff and Richie Rich. More nuclear devastation. Cavern of the Doomed. There's Tomb of Terror. I have 2 copies of this one. Yeah, 2 copies. It's definitely not the Harvey house style, but this is great stuff. Special formula in chewing gum that reduces your weight. Yeah, Harvey also did Chamber of Chills, Witch's Tales, and Black Cat Mystery. Hold on. Now, coming up, I'm supposed to be getting a package tomorrow, I believe, from Gotham City Comics, which is going to be the majority of my Christmas present. So that's tomorrow. And today I believe today I should be getting a package from Show-Ep.1336. So either one of those would make for a good episode, unboxing, as they call it here on YouTube. But will I be up for it after the surgery? I don't know. Will I even be able to do it? That's something I just don't know. Maybe I'm looking for books that don't relate to what's around them. So, oh my gosh, they're really fighting down there. There's that Trash Man book. Here's a book that reprints 50s pre-code horror. It's called They Came from the 50s. And this is probably, when did I buy this? Probably the 80s. Let's take a look. 1990. So it's this is black and white. Reproduction's pretty good though. Some you can tell are shot from the original comics. And anyway, this came out from what company? Malibu Graphics. I remember Malibu Comics. I don't think I don't know what they did. Here's the brand new Monty Python paper box, which they made to look like it was grubby and put, they printed dirty fingerprints on it. And it's just, this was when Monty Python's Flying Circus came to the United States, it was already a show that was off the air in England. But their popularity skyrocketed in the United States, and they started putting out albums and books, but not new episodes of the show. But then they started making some new movies there in the late 70s. Well, and gee whiz, cat. We'll find a new place to put the Monty Python paper box. They also put out a book that was the script from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I have that here somewhere. That probably is where I need to reunite the. And then there were some other Monty Python books, and then there was a series that came out in the late 70s called Ripping Yarns that were supposed to give you the feel of British pulps, and there was a book that came out associated with that. I've got that somewhere, but Worlds of Fear. this ghost is not in the right spot. Where do I put these darn books while I'm doing this? Because these cats and dogs are running around like they don't got any sense. Oh boy. I can't see anything. I asked my friend that's driving me, I said, were you scared about the surgery before? And he says, no, my vision had gotten so bad that I was ready to take the gamble. I just couldn't take it anymore, and it's getting to that point. Where did that ghost go, Starling? No? Oh, there it is, ghost. Okay. Here's Worlds of Fear, Volume 1. And these all were put out, what would it be, about 10 years ago? East Yorkshire, England, 2017. 8 years ago, I guess. They did a great job, probably, of reprinting just about every pre-code horror book that hasn't already been reprinted. Of course, the EC books have been reprinted in different formats over the years, in very, like go back here, you see the Russ Cochran reprint books that were done in the 70s, all shot from the original artwork. Bill Gaines held on to all the original artwork from EC and from Mad over the years, and then finally when he passed away, that art was auctioned off. There used to be an entire story from Vault of Horror. I don't remember what story. My friend owned it. He later sold it, but it was every page, and he was between, he had giant warehouses filled with collectibles, probably $1 million worth, but he didn't have a place that he was actually staying at. So he said, here, would you take care of this Vault of Horror original art? And I said, okay. So it was sitting on a pinball machine for a couple of months in my house back years ago in Texas. And so I once held in my hands the original artwork from EC and had it in my house for a while. I just didn't own it, but he kept a lot of stuff in my house for a while there, including his car in my garage. It's like, man, wait a second, your car's in my garage, but I can't fit my car in my garage. But he had a 1960 Jaguar. I'm sorry. You're supposed to pronounce it Jaguar. Yeah. Much fun. Just a second. Hey, Drew, I'm sitting there. Man. I'm sitting here with you, man. Okay. Put Atom Age Combat here. Ow, damn it! Just got slashed by a cat. Here's Witch's Tales. Okay. This is volume 4. The hardcover and softcover versions of these books don't match up exactly. Some of these have slick pages, and some have pages meant to simulate the feel of the original comics. And this is reprinting issues 1 through 6 of Witch's Tales. Now these pre-code horror comics, slightly, they're not really so much based on the old pulps, but on old-time radio. And starting in the 30s, one of the oldest of the horror shows on network radio. They had the CBS network and NBC. ABC was not a radio network, at least not back then. It came later as a TV network. But in the old days, for those of you who don't know, the way TV is now with different shows, game shows, adventure shows, mystery sports, that was all on the radio because TV wasn't around yet. Now, TV was invented in the 30s and would have been rolled out sooner, but for World War II happening. Now, the Germans were broadcasting television during World War II, but I don't think hardly anyone had TV sets. It's something you'd see in the window of a store. They actually broadcast TV. But for the most part, in the United States, it wasn't until a few years after the war, the very late 40s, that TV networks started in big markets. And by the early 50s, people started to get TV sets. And a lot of TV shows like Gunsmoke and Dragnet and Lone Ranger started as radio shows and then became TV shows. And Gunsmoke was a tremendous radio show. In fact, the radio show continued after the TV show started. The radio show was far darker and more violent. Of course, you can be violent on radio because you're not really showing any blood. It's all in your imagination. You imagine how horrible that is. But they had great sound effects, the creaking of the floors when you're in there. Everything sounded to your ear very realistic. And William Conrad was Marshal Matt Dillon. But when the TV show started, he didn't look the part. He sounded right, but he's kind of a pudgy guy. So they got this giant 7-8 foot tall Nephilim guy, James Arnez, who'd played giant monsters before, and to come in and be Marshal Matt Dillon. So that was, of course, Jack Webb remained as Sergeant Joe Friday in the radio, and the old radio shows are great. And YouTube has got archives of all of that. You can listen to. I used to have to get little cassettes with one show on one side, one show on the other, or you'd get records back in the 70s of old time radio. But now you can just hear everything. But my point is, The Witch's Tale was this old witch named Nancy that would tell you these horror stories, very much like the feel of an EC comic. And of course, the young guys that created like Gaines and Feldstein. I always say it's like Tarzan or Tarzan, Conan or Conan. I flip back and forth in how I say it. I'll say the, and then people say, no, it's pronounced the. Well, you can say it the, or you can say it the. It's the discussions I get into with people. But what am I talking about? The Witch's Tale was a radio show. Oh, those guys um, founded EC and everything. They and the other people that did the other horror. There was that was one of the oldest shows. That's definitely where the old witch of EC Comics comes from. But probably the most famous horror shows from the golden age of radio were the Inner Sanctum and Suspense, and you can listen to those on YouTube. Inner Sanctum had a host named Raymond, very much like the Vault Keeper or the Crypt Keeper, and with a kind of evil voice. And at the beginning of each episode, there was a creaking door that opened up, and that was the sound of the beginning of the Inner Sanctum. And Suspense had horror stories, and they had big Hollywood stars that would come in and guest star on the shows. Every week was a different. It wasn't a continuing series. Every week was a different story, like the Twilight Zone. And those were great. That's where EC Comics and all that comes from. And then there were some really good science fiction radio shows from the golden age of radio. There was a show called Dimension X and X-1. They might have been the same show or same people made those two shows, but they adapted stories by Ray Bradbury and Isaac Asimov, all the great, they're really well done. And to me, that would be the inspiration for the EC science fiction. They were really, the old-time radio is a lot of fun. I Love Lucy started as a radio show, or a variation of it started that way. In the 70s, when I was a kid, old-time radio, there was a nostalgia for it, and it started to be put out on record, and there would be, some radio stations would have, like every night, or I know WFAA did this in Dallas, and when I lived near Seattle, they had a station that played Theater of the Mind, and they'd play an hour of old-time radio every night, and then WFAA in Dallas would, they would play old-time radio, those old Superman episodes. They would play Lum and Abner. I hated Lum and Abner. I just didn't think that was... Lum and Abner just... It's not like... I'm not talking about Little Abner, which was a great comic strip. Lum and Abner, just these two guys, they were just so boring listening to these guys sit around in their general store. It's kind of like, what was that Louisiana comedian, was it Jerry Clower? I thought that guy wasn't funny either. Hold on, but it's all right. I'll allow you to like him. You know something? I've gone at least half an hour without mentioning Donald Trump. I think I should mention Donald Trump again, just so I can lose some subscribers. Here's Weird Horrors. I've never unsubscribed to someone just because they had stupid politics. You're free to be stupid. Free to be you and me. Okay, this is Weird Horrors. So this goes there. Web of Evil. This was Donald Trump's favorite comic when he was a wee lad. It's pre-code classics. And like I said, they printed too many of these. They just didn't sell. And they had them, I guess they were selling them off at Half Price Books there for a while. And I was getting these for less than $10. But now that supply's dried up. I see that Miriam Lena made a deal with Half Price Books and is selling, I don't know, books that she's put out. She and her husband, who's passed away, have put out, or maybe old issues of Kicks magazine. If you don't know who Miriam Lena is, well, she was the original drummer for the Cramps in 1976. And then she left. She was real young, and she formed a band called the A-Bones with her husband, but they became dealers in collectibles, and they put out a record label called Norton Records, and the Cramps did cover versions of "She Said" by a guy from West Virginia, I believe, named Hazel Adkins, who was this insane rockabilly musician. He was a one-man band. He played all the instruments, and he sang songs about cutting off his girlfriend's head and hanging it on the wall. It was just insane. They made the legendary Stardust Cowboy seem like Frank Sinatra. It's just insane, just an insane mental patient, in the 50s, putting out these records. And Lux and Ivy of the Cramps found some of these old records, and they covered 2 of his songs. But so Miriam Lena and Billy Miller they were doing a magazine called Kicks, and they had the Norton record label, and they had their own band, the A-Bones. They got a hold of Hazel Adkins and put out compilations of all his records and had him record new records. And so, and they put out all kinds of reissues of great bands from the past that were out of print, and new bands that no one had ever heard of. So they were completely into rock and roll culture. She's still around, but apparently Half Price Books has become the official distributor for her books, or her remainder books that didn't sell. So I'm going to have to look at my local. It's an hour away. It's the only Half Price Books around here is about 10 minutes from where they're about to do this procedure on me, but I'm not gonna go there today, obviously. But they have a book there that I desperately want, but it's $200. They put out a book about the monster scenes model kits that Aurora put out. I always call them the torture chamber model kits. Drew, I fed you breakfast, but maybe she hasn't eaten. Let's give her some more food. She's communicating with me. She's saying, "Feed me, you bastard." All right, Drew, let's go see what have you eaten. And we need to see what time it is, man. Need to get the car out of the garage. I gassed up yesterday, so we're all set as far as that goes. Man, it's 8. It's almost 8, 10 to 8, so I'm going to be leaving in about an hour. Yeah, Drew, you haven't eaten yet. Your food is still there.
Sure.
Here you go, Drew. There's some food, Drew. Well, that's what it looks like out there. The streets are clear. I have off today and tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be, I guess, recovering. I think the people tell me I don't need 3 days. So I've taken off 1 day after the surgery and 1 day after the surgery I'll have next week. Okay. Here's some more Heritage catalogs. Heritage, the auction house, prints these books. I guess they're kind of like magazines. Well, they're catalogs, what they are, and they show everything that's going to be auctioned off. And this one's from 2004. I've never bought anything from Heritage or sold anything through Heritage, but it's fascinating to look at. They're selling off these slab comics. Sometimes they buy a collection of somebody's. This someone had a Dick Tracy collection, so it's got all kinds of cool pictures of Dick Tracy collectibles. So I don't know what the print run is of these magazines, but look at these Dick Tracy masks. That would be cool to have. This is also from 2004. You know, this is like a biblical quote. I don't think I ever realized that till years later. Isn't that from the Bible? I am that I am, something like that. Well, you could get some original EC art. What are they thinking this is going to go for? From L. Feldstein. Beautiful piece of early EC history. Artwork comes to you matted. Is an excellent collection. Condition, rather. Bill Everett art of Submariner. Action Comics #2 there being sold for, where Superman's not on the cover. 4.5 condition. And they're saying the Overstreet value back in 2004 was $7,076. I would think that's lower condition than that, based on all the foxing or whatever, but maybe not. What do I know? They're auctioning off Russ Cochran's collection here, which is going to be some important stuff. This is March of 2002. Ooh. They're estimating that this Frazetta painting will go from between 30 and 50,000. Original oil painting, Thor's Flight from 1968. It looks like a rough drawing from John Carter book. All kinds of stuff in here. Oh, they're selling off William Gaines. He had file copies he kept of everything, every issue of the EC Color Comics, every issue of Mad that was put out. I think he kept 2 copies in a closet in perfect conditions, and then when he passed away, that was auctioned off. So they're called Gaines file copies. I'm sorry, there's some original Tomb of Terrors, like I was just showing you the reprints of. This is from November of 2001. Man, that's pretty old. That's back in around the time of 9/11. I had some of these the other day. Where did I put them? I might have taken them upstairs. Not sure. What is this book? Oh, I looked at that the other day. Okay, here Drew finally eating in the other room. Okay, good. She's upset that she's not getting the exact food she wants. Man, I can't eat it all. Oh boy. Oh boy, where do I put these? I think I'll put these upstairs. Okay, there's only 3 more, and they'll fit, of these PS art books. This one is The Unseen. Reprinting these issues. This is volume 2. Amazing. Here's volume 1 of The Unseen. Oof. Let's move these 2 books. Okay. And Unknown Worlds. And this is doesn't say volume 1 or volume 2. This may be all of the issues of this particular title. So this one has slick paper. I might do a show. Well, I don't know if I'll do a show today. I don't know. I have no idea what it's going to be like. I don't know. Everybody's got different stories, you know, about how this is going to be. Oh. Let's get you off the tripod. It's probably time I need to start doing some stuff to get ready for this. Okay, a little bit after 8 o'clock. Here's my coat.
There are 50 adventures for G.I. Joe. There are 50 adventures for your G.I. Joe with Kung Fu Grip. Each sold separately. Here at Green. You can take Joe patrol with Storm Survival. And that's Joe with Secret Mission to Spy Island. Assemble Devil of the Deep and you can take Joe on a search for danger. There are 50 adventures for G.I. Joe. Devil of the Deep comes with everything you see here. G.I. Joe with Kung Fu Grip, G.I. Joe with sets and equipment each sold separately.
Get my car out of the garage, first of all. I did more snow shoveling, and I put some stuff down to get rid of ice yesterday. but it's still slippery out there on the driveway.
Below. Saturday, mostly cloudy, highs 10 to 15. Wind chill values as low as 15 below in the morning. Saturday night, mostly cloudy until midnight, then becoming partly cloudy. Cold levels around zero. These values as low as 15 below. Sunday, mostly sunny. Not as cool, highs in the lower 20s. Wind chill values as low as 15 below in the morning. Again, the forecast for Corning, Bedford, Mount Ayr, and surrounding locations for today, partly sunny. Highs in the lower 30s. South winds 5 to 10 miles an hour with gusts up to 20 miles an hour. Wind chill values as low as 0 this morning. These are the 8 a.m. conditions for the Creston area. At Creston Airport, it was cloudy. The temperature was 12 degrees.
Uh-oh. Oh no. My car's slipping. Oh shit. Oh boy. That's not good. I probably need to go to the supermarket and buy more of that stuff to kill the ice. I'll be seeing you guys.